Welcome to the ChallengHER webinar series, brought to you through the partnership of the U.S. Small Business Administration, American Express, and Women Impacting Public Policy. It's dedicated to helping small businesses grow through federal acquisitions. My name is Angela Dingle, President and CEO for Women Impacting Public Policy. Our webinar today is titled Paving the Path from the Woman-Owned Small Business Certification to Success. I am joined today by two of my favorite people, and I am excited to introduce you to them. Courtney Fairchild, Alicia Sheard, is currently serving as the Director of Women-Owned Small Business Federal Procurement Program within the U.S. Small Business Administration's Office of Government Contracting. She is a dedicated leader, empowering over 10,000 women-owned small businesses in the federal marketplace. Her journey at the SBA began in the 8A Business Development Program, where she has guided numerous entrepreneurs towards contracting opportunities. Elisa's passion for fostering business growth in federal government contracting shines as she advises federal agencies on SBA certification programs. Recognized as the Agency Advocate of the Year by WIPP in December of 2021, her unwavering commitment to women in business is remarkable. Her impressive career also includes entrepreneurship and work for the Department of Housing and Urban Development. Alyssa holds an MBA and a computer science degree from the University of Maryland. Courtney Fairchild serves as the WIPP Board Chair and is the co-founder, president, and CEO of Global Services. For 25 years, Courtney has led her team in obtaining over 3,000 contract awards in excess of $20 billion in value. She provides pro bono services to Apex accelerators. And for those of you that have been around for a long time, these used to be the PTACs, the Procurement Technical Assistance Centers, to assist their constituents in learning about selling to the federal government, specifically via the GSA schedule. An award-winning business owner, Courtney is a graduate of the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Business Program in 2017 and SBA's Emerging Leaders Program in 2015. Courtney, Elisa, thank you for joining us today. Let's get started. All right, thanks for having us. You are welcome. So, Elisa, in order to have success in federal contracting as a woman-owned small business, we just start off with a direction of exactly how a woman-owned small business gets registered, how she gets registered. So can you please give us a brief overview of the possibilities and the process of getting the woman-owned small business or WOSB certification?
Absolutely, absolutely. Because I am still receiving emails of women-owned businesses that had not realized that the program changed in 2020. And so now all women-owned small businesses that want to participate in the federal government marketplace and that want opportunities that are limited just to women-owned small businesses or economically disadvantaged designated women-owned small businesses, they must be certified or they must give SBA their third-party certificate. And so they can do that by visiting wosb.certify.sba.gov. I'm going to repeat the website one more time because I know sometimes I'm rattling off so much information, but that's wosb.certify.sba.gov. And that is the SBA system for firms to submit an application or submit their third-party certificate via an shorter abbreviated application. And so I just want to make sure that everyone understands you're submitting information that will now be reviewed by a SBA analyst, which is very different than the self-certification process where you just uploaded documents into a repository. Now SBA is reviewing every single document that is put into that application, and then we move move it through a process to ensure that it meets the criteria of the WSB Federal Contract Program regulations. So we have to make sure all those criteria are satisfied, and then we render a decision of an approved program participant, or we would notify you if you did not meet those criteria for the program.
So you took over, Elisa, the SBA took over processing women-owned small business applications. That change was in 2020, you just said, is that right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
So it's been a little while. Let's talk about the state of the system, the program, how many are certified, and how many are in the queue?
Right. So we have over 10,000 certified. And we have a little bit of ebb and flow as we started the recertification process. So we started in 2020. In 2023, we began the recertification process. So we're steady at a good 10,000 with a bit of ebb and flow of that. We are seeing about 800 to 900 applications per month. New
Oh my
applications
goodness.
submitted into our system. High interest, high volume, high activity. And so you can imagine we have thousands of applications in progress right now, waiting to get a final determination completed on them.
Let me ask a quick follow-up. Are there best practices, something I just thought of, what's the best practice before I log into that site? What kinds of documentation do I need to be gathering? Because I sense that not only are there 800 or 900 applications, they've got to be complete applications in order to get through the process. So do you have a checklist or tips or things that I should get ready before I even try to start filling this thing out?
Absolutely, absolutely. So on the website, the wsb.certify.sba.gov website, we have what's called a prepare tab. And that outlines all of the required documents, the minimum required documents that we need within your application. Some key areas that, and thank you for asking that question, Courtney, because it often gets overlooked. Some key areas is those initial incorporating governing documents of your company is what we're looking for. We know you're out there running your business, doing your thing, executing and getting things done. But we need those beginning documents that started your business. So that articles of incorporation with your state that you began your company. We're also looking for your governing documents, operating agreements, bylaws. We do know some states don't require an operating agreement, but it's critical that for your federal program that you're trying to participate in, that you prepare an operating agreement or work with one of our resource partners to help you come up with something short and very and satisfying the criteria. So you want to make sure you're checking off, I have this, and you have it all in the right place on your computer. And so I've heard too often that, oh, I have that on an old laptop. I don't know where that document is. So it's always best to, hey, before I start on this, let me make sure I have all this stuff in one folder. And then my submission process is way smoother and a whole lot less back and forth between my organization and analysts and your company. We don't see you on a day-to-day basis. All we have are the papers that are in front of us for submitting your application. So it's important that you give us all of those required documents, and it helps the process move along a lot faster.
So I'm actually going to sneak in another question there about those documents. And the importance of those documents is that it shows the SBA, what is it that you guys are looking for there? So I know that's a little bit of a trick question, but there's a reason that you want to see those documents, and I'd just like you to tell our audience that.
Absolutely. Thank you. So we're looking at ownership and control. So not just women owned, but women led, meaning you're demonstrating to SBA that you are the final decision maker of everything for your business. Sometimes we get applications
Ouchie,
where
ouchie, ouch, ouch.
when the woman owner is not satisfying those requirements. Poor Angela, she has a little friend busy over there. But sometimes we have requirements, submissions where they're not demonstrating that. There's other board members that your documents say you're supposed to have. There's certain conditions where you don't have the final say in voting. We're not asking you to become legal eagles and understanding your governing documents, but have a general understanding of, hey, I am the final decision maker. I've seen some firms where the woman owner is not even the highest officer in their company. So, and they didn't realize that their organizational documents didn't outline that. So absolutely important that that we make sure your documents reflect that information.
You know, Elisa, you just brought it up, but I've had a couple of clients that I don't know, you know, where people go for their legal information, but they download an operating agreement and they're not legal themselves, right? And so they just decide that this will work and it'll pass the test. But the problem is, to your point, it clearly says that they have a board of directors that they don't have, or that are making the decisions. And they're confused as to why, because they really are running the business and in control of the business. They're confused about the kickback from either SBA or the third-party certifier, because in fact, their document states that they are not the one that is in control of the firm. So I think it's really important for everyone to take a look at the documents. So not only have them on your computer, but read them before you start uploading them. Check your operating agreement. Make sure that if you need to make an amendment prior to submitting, that we get that.
Things are done. Yeah. Absolutely. One other thing, Courtney, to highlight is that resume that we require as part of submission of your documentation. I've seen a couple, and I met a couple of firms even just last week where I looked at their resume and they didn't even mention the company for which they own on their resume. And so I'm looking at the owner like,
Wow.
well, you didn't even tell me you own the company that you're applying for. So please look at your resume. We outline what that resume should include, and in explaining to us, how are you making those decisions for your company? What role do you play? You guys are doing so many roles on the day-to-day operations of your company. As small business owners, you're wearing multiple hats. So, you want to make sure that is properly reflected, because again, all we have is the information in front of us. We don't get to see how you run your day to day.
I think it's also important to note that you're asking for the same information, or I should probably say in the reverse, that the third-party certifiers all have to get the same information that SBA does, right? So I'm not providing any more or less information to WeBank when they did my third-party certification. And I was, happy to not have to go through the back and forth and maybe save a little bit of the time. What is the timeline right now for if you're getting $900 a month? And
Absolutely.
tell us a little bit about why.
A timeline. It
I want you
absolutely
to
is.
explain why, though, because I think it's important for our audience to know that backlog exists because.
And it's something we're working on. So, right now the timeline is about the 7 to 8 month time frame. I will say that we anticipate that that's changing. We're implementing some strategies that will immediately address some of the backlog that we have. Right now, I only have 7 analysts, but we're implementing some new strategies just this week alone that we're using to divvy up the workload a little bit more across more resources. So that is going to allow for us to really bring down that backlog of applications. And then we're going to be implementing strategies. So things like at ChallengHER, where we have the SBA clinic, we're going to be doing more application processing at those in-person events to help support the fact that you're participating in these things and SBA is present to be more engaging. So it is at about a 7 to 8 month time frame. We do know that is absolutely going to be coming down, but we only have 7 dedicated analysts, and SBA is implementing strategies just this week alone to really dole out that backlog and get it to come down a significant more than what it's been. Absolutely.
Okay. So I'm third-party certified.
Oh yes, thank you, Courtney.
I'm third-party certified. We are on a mission here between SBA and WIPP to get this word out. Is it true that once I've received my third-party certification, that I am done? Or is there an additional step that I have to take to be able to be woman-owned small business qualified for sole source?
Oh, thank you. I can't thank you enough for asking this question because this is something that's so important to us this year because we've seen such a big gap in with the number of firms that are third party certified versus the number of firms that SBA's dynamic small business search tool reflects. And that is because that is a SBA system. And so only SBA can update our government systems. So for all of my firms that are in your audience today that hold a third-party certificate, it is critical that today that you begin an application with wosb.certified.sba.gov, and you're going to be answering, I guess, about 5 or 6 questions, and then uploading your third-party certificate. It is a shorter application process because you've used one of our SBA-approved third-party certifiers. Again, there are only 4 that are approved by SBA at this time. So if you navigate to the website, we also list what those organizations are. And also in our knowledge base, it gives and outlines the exact steps that a third-party certified firm should complete. So it tells you here are the organizations that are certified, that are national certifiers for SBA's program. And then it also walks you through the steps that you must complete in order for us to update the dynamic small business search tool. And this data is also starting to feed into sam.gov. So if we don't have that certificate, a contracting officer would not know that you have been formally certified officially by SBA until we get that information. And so for the contracting community, they're going to want to see that the government database is updated. They're looking that the government systems show that you are certified. So that's why it's so critical. We don't want any delays on contracts. You don't want to miss out on revenue opportunities because they're like, I don't see her at all. So they completely overlook you. So it's so important that if you are a third-party certified firm, that you are going to our website, completing the steps to start an application, and then you're going to answer a shorter number of questions and then upload your third-party certificate. So there's no cost to using SBA system, but if you decide to use a third-party certifiers, each organization has a cost associated with their process for them.
So it's in lieu of, right? There was a question in the chat, what's a third-party certification? It is in lieu of, and the third-party certifiers offer some additional benefits in other parts of their own membership organization. So you can go and use, WeBank or one of the other certifying bodies, so that I can simultaneously get my other certification as well as the federal cert. Which leads me into a funny story, and I'll let Angela tell hers after me. But I was on stage with Elisa interviewing her for something that was very similar to this, and I asked the question, not knowing the answer. And when she said yes, I was mortified that for a year I thought I was in the dynamic small business search, and I was not, because the email that came to me from WeBank so clearly told me exactly what to do with this cert, and it was very easy. You don't have to deal with the backlog that is all others once you put it up. But I was shocked and embarrassed that on stage, while I am talking to the Women and Small Business Director, I really didn't know. And so I'm going to let Angela tell her story. And then I want to ask you, do you know the disparity between the two? Do you know how many are third-party certified versus what we have in SAM? But Angela, do you have a similar story to me?
I do, and I'm just going to go ahead and dive on the sword right now. Elisa got an email from me at maybe about 11 o'clock on a Sunday, because I too did my third-party certification, and it clearly tells you to upload it. What happened to me is when the window for renewals changed from 1 year to 3 year, I forgot to do the renewal on the SBA side. And so I received an email message, and you get so many email messages from people that are purporting to do GSA schedules. There's now one that's pretty common that's going around telling you that they can do your SAM renewal. And so I was getting these messages that were saying, hey, we're going to, something's going on with your woman-owned small business renewal. I knew I had done the third-party certification. So I basically ignored it until one day when I was cleaning out my inbox, I saw it and realized that it was real. And so it was extremely easy to simply go and click through the process of the renewals. And there's a great video that goes along with that. But I sent you an email just diving on the sword and saying I was so sorry for not having gotten it done on time. And then I'll let you answer Courtney's question.
You guys have become the testimonials of those challenges that and that how we navigate them more successfully. Please, if you are utilizing one of the national approved, so SBA has vetted these organizations to be approved to provide third party certification. Let me just be clear, there is a cost if you decide to use their organizations. When we are hearing reports, it's about 90 to 120 days, depending on which organization that you are utilizing, because you're not just getting WSB certified. Let me also be clear about using their services. You are becoming a member of their organizations and a part of their network. And then in addition to that network, you can elect to get WSB certified. So it's a business decision of whether or not you want to utilize those services or go through the SBA.gov path, which is free for and available for you. So it is a choice, but you have to also remember that, hey, even though we're using those sort choices, we need to make sure we're keeping SBA up to date. So you still have to give that certificate to us. And when you first get certified, you're getting that letter from your third-party certifier that, hey, congratulations. And I know a lot of firms, they're like, oh, I'm done. Check that off. It's over. But no, they actually give instructions on how to complete it as well. So if you can't find it on our website, they're giving it to you as well on how to give us that.
It's just embarrassing. It's true. It was my fault. It had nothing to do with the lack of instruction, but I probably had gotten so many emails by that point. When I saw the certificate that I could download, I was all excited and just really happy it was over.
Absolutely. And the gap is pretty wide, and which is why we're making a concerted effort to really message. There's thousands upon thousands that have not decided to submit their certificate to SBA, maybe because they're not aware that they have to complete another step. That's largely but we know not everybody is planning to enter into the federal marketplace. So, but if you are, and you're looking to pursue federal opportunities, you must give us that certificate so that we can reflect you properly in the federal government systems.
Is there anything that's going to come on board? I think the confusion for me was I knew I had done my certification and I was able to make the self-election in SAM, right? I made the the certification in SAM to be woman-owned. And I assumed that as my SAM shows that I'm woman-owned, I don't know there's another database. I mean, obviously I need to read the email, but I think, is there anything that you're working on in terms of the systems that are going to make SAM and the Small Business Dynamics search chat with each other, or to, I guess, as we're doing, just further educate women-owned small businesses to make sure they know there's a difference in those systems?
Great question. The System for Award Management is a separate tool outside of the Small Business Administration. So that's handled by the General Service Administration. So we work in concert with them. We are having conversations to make sure the requirements of our program and the technology are aligned. And so more and more will be coming to, one, remove that ability to select as a program participant. So that change will stop very soon. It's definitely a part of the technology update that we're working with them on. But our system, as you're certified in our system, that updates every evening. So every evening when we issue approvals, that is sent over to our internal SBA system. And then that data is also sent over to SAM.gov every evening that we're issuing certifications. And so it is timely and it happens very quickly, but you're also going to have to update your SAM.gov when it happens. So and I don't want to
Oh,
forget that step. And that's also an important step to know that when you give us your certificate and you get that approval, SAM.gov is going to send you a notice to say, hey, you need an update to, we've gotten some notice from the Small Business Administration, and you need to run an update on your profile. And so that's just, running through all the screens. There's a lot of screens in SAM.gov.
and then
So
waiting
running through
for
all
the
those
DLA
screens.
cage code verification. That'll take another 10 days from there.
Well,
The
it should not take that long, but I can't promise that because I don't control that system. But it should be a matter of whatever is the timeline for their typical update process. And then the certification will update onto that profile. I've seen it happen a bit shorter than that. So I don't think it's always quite that long, but you will have to take a different step. Because again, this is a system separate from the Small Business Administration that we work in partnership with them, and we have been discussing the transition to our program requirements. So we have more to come, absolutely.
It's exciting.
It
Okay.
is.
It is exciting, and it'll be good when they all come together.
Yes, yes. I mean, that is a great point, and that is definitely what we're planning for this year is to unifying our systems. Right now, if you're trying to participate in the 8A program, in the Hub Zone program, and the Veteran Certification program, and my program, they're all different platforms. So there are 4 different platforms right now at this time. And so one of the things that we are doing at SBA is putting out a solution that will unify our certifications so that, hey, if I am participating in the WSB program and I also wanted to utilize my eligibility for the 8A program, I can do that through one single path. And then I can decide, oh, you know what? I qualify as a hub zone now. I've moved my business. I've gotten employees. I meet the requirements of that program. I can also elect to participate and submit documentation for that path. So that is something that we are absolutely in full throttle speed of developing and putting forward for later this year.
There's a couple of questions in chat, people that are have been in process for say 12 months, have been in process. I think I just heard you say it's taking 8 to 9 months. Someone just asked about 90 days. I think you're still going to be waiting for a bit. But if I've been in process over 12 months, is there someone I can get in touch with at least to check? I think the fear that the women-owned small business community has, knowing that you are a very limited number of certifiers, because Congress was so sweet to require the SBA to do the certification without providing any additional funds to get that done. But I think that the real question is, can I just check in? The fear is what happens if, because I haven't heard anything, that I had done something wrong or it's not in process and now I've waited 12 months. Is there a way to check in on my application?
So I would say if anyone is under the thought that they have not heard anything in 12 months, they should absolutely go to the website, to wsb.certify.sba.gov, and look at your profile, because it may just be you haven't visited the website in quite some time. And an email for some reason may have gone to spam by accident. We've seen that happen as well, that we've sent notices or updates and it's gone to a firm spam account, or as Angela described, because you're getting so many emails from being in a public system that you could have easily overlooked that type of notification. So I would first start there and taking a look at, has SBA issued me anything? Is my profile reflected in saying anything on my dashboard that I may have missed, and be able to take action accordingly. But if you haven't received a status update, I encourage you to send an email to wosb@sba.gov. So if you're looking for a status update, but again, if your application falls within that 7 to 8 month window, then I would say wait until after. But if it does fall within that time frame, I would say you should absolutely send a notice so that we can take action on what has happened with your application. So be sure to first check your dashboard, review the possibility of, did they issue me a updated letter and I just didn't happen to view it, or I may have overlooked it. Those things can happen, and we have known it to happen on many occasions. But if you haven't received any updates, then we will engage and take a look at what's happening with the application.
Take a look at the last question in chat. I've been 10 months, because I think this is what we were talking about, the system's not, and needing to take an additional step. I've been 10 months waiting for my actual certification. I have a letter saying it's been approved, but it's still not in SAM. I don't have the final certification letter.
I'm a little confused about that, and the only reason is if we've issued an approval, then it would say your firm has been approved. So there is a couple of notices that we do issue. We do give confirmation when the application is submitted. So we say we have received your application. The next touch point, we will also send an indication of, hey, we have completed our screening of your application and we've reviewed everything and we're moving it to the final processing stage. And now you can begin bidding on opportunities. So I want to make the distinction. There's the submitted notification letter, and then there's your pending, and you can begin bidding. Then the last notification would be the actual approval letter. So I would also, I encourage to check the certification, to look at your documents section and to see, are there any correspondences that have been issued, and being sure that we haven't already given that notification, because we wouldn't approve you without a final letter. And so I just want to make sure that that's distinction. But I'm happy if you send an email to WSB, mention today's event, and then my team will know, like, oh, this is one of the firms that we're listening to Elisa speak today. We can definitely take a look at what happened if it's over that window of time that we've initially shared. So anything over that 7 to 8 months, we want to know. We want to be able to take action on and address. Absolutely.
Well, thank you for answering those questions. I know the experience is different for depending on who it is.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we just want to make sure that we're giving everybody a response and an update on where their application is, especially if it's been, or it seems to have been longer than anticipated. Absolutely. All right.
Oh, go ahead.
So once we've taken all the correct steps to be listed on SAM and the SGBC and the Small Business Dynamic Database, what are the next steps for success, right? What do we have to do next?
So absolutely. So, that this seems like the hardest part of the journey for some people, but the real hard part is actually beginning to market your business, and what that looks like. So the dynamic small business search tool is one of the first points of, and I would say that you should make sure it's fully up to date. Even if you're not certified yet, you should be making sure your dynamic small business search profile is up to speed. So that means the way you navigate there is a little changed right now. So if Sydney could put in the chat connect .sba.gov, and that is I'll pull it up and make sure I'm giving the exact correct email address, because then you can navigate to the dynamic small business search tool. This is important because this is how you show up to the contracting community that I'm ready to do business with the government, and I do business in the following categories. This is where you're writing what your capability narrative is. You're saying, this is the kinds of problems I solve. This is the line of services that I provide. These are the products that I sell. And I'll get you guys the correct website address for that. Connect.sba.gov. So there's no www in front of it. It's just connect.sba.gov.
So
that
let's
will,
talk about that for a quick second while you're
yes,
on this topic. I know there have been some changes to the small business dynamic search. And so you're instructing us on sort of how to do that. While you're going through that, tell me about the changes and what I could do to better market myself through that.
absolutely. So writing that narrative, one of the new features that was added to dynamic small business search is you can add a URL to your capability statement. That's one of the newest features that we've added to Dynamic Small. So if you have a website or a hosting place and you put up a capabilities statement, you can put that website address into your Dynamic Small Business Search profile. And not only does that enhance your profile, you're really selling and telling to the government, here is what my business resume consists of and looks like. So not only am I giving you all the keywords related to my business, but I'm also giving you a link to my quote unquote CAPE statement or business resume. And that really tells the government in much more detail, like what is the mix of your company? Where has your past performance been? Where have you delivered in the government space before, or a space very similar to government scale projects? So I would say, if nothing else, even before you get certified, you should be making sure your dynamic small business search profile is really up to speed and updated to reflect, hey, government, I am here to ready to do business with you. And these are the kinds of things that my business and organization has to offer to you.
Wow, it's a lot. So I just want to sort of recap the different websites. I saw it in chat, but I think some of the misunderstanding is the dynamic small business search is the SBA run website. That's where small businesses are certified through the SBA, and all small businesses can have a profile. Whereas SAM.gov is run by the GSA, as Elisa mentioned, and is your total UEI, unique entity identifier information. And so it's important that you see both and that you interact with both. And then there's the certified.gov, certified.sba.gov website that is important that you watch your application, and also where you do your renewals for all of that as well. But those are the four main places. And unfortunately, you got to make sure you check them all to be sure.
Yes, yep. That's one of
And
those dynamics of being in government contracting for the federal marketplace is kind of keeping an eye on all these spaces. It is an own challenge in of itself, but it becomes almost second nature the more and more you do it. For SAM.gov, you're updating that annually. It's a system of award management. So that's what all of the federal government is using to verify who the players are in the federal marketplace. So that is your primary website that you'll be using on a regular recurring basis. Then if you want to be certified by the WISB program, you want to visit wsb.certified.sba.gov. Both SAM.gov and both WSB.certified talk to what's called a dynamic small business search. So any small business or any business that indicates that they are small in any particular industry, they're going to have a profile automatically created that you have to update and make sure it has all the details about your company. So what keywords, what descriptions, what it is about your business. So let alone that's 3 different websites that you're having to make sure remains up to date with different frequencies. So I know that can be absolutely a lot to manage successfully, but it is a norm, unfortunately, for many small business contractors. Absolutely.
sorry, I just put that in chat, but I put it only to Angela. So I'm now putting it to everyone. I know we want it in the same place. Okay. And I think you had mentioned you were going to give us a resource list that you will provide to us so that we will have, with the recap of the webinar for everyone that attended, a resource list will go out. We're getting down closer to the end of our time. I want to talk a little bit about the 5% woman-owned goal. I know that we don't have 2023 report card numbers yet, and I won't publicly try to pump you to tell me what the answer is, even though I know you know. But the question, in 2022, we got to what, 4.6%, I think, not quite to 5%. And I believe since the inception, we've only ever met that goal 2 times. Is that right?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tell me, because I know it's important to the SBA, I know it's important to you, to the administrator, what progress are we making and what steps are you taking at the SBA? And what steps can we take to help you to try to get to that number? What are the kinds of things that you're doing and you think we could do?
So I would say one, it's not just our administrator, but we also have new leadership here in Office of Government Contracting. So my two new leaders, and if you guys hadn't heard, you absolutely should be thrilled and excited to hear that Jackie Robertson Burnett has returned back to SBA and leading our office, and it's very important to her of the achievement of the 5% goal for this administration, as well as Francine Morris. She was the deputy director at our National Science Foundation in their OSBU shop. So she comes with a wealth of knowledge of not just SBA, but how to navigate successfully with the OSBU office and working with issues, contract issues for many of our small business community. So top priority for both of them is achievement of this WASB goal and how we go
Right.
about doing that. And so for them, it is about engaging very early on with our senior procurement executives, the buyers at our federal communities, the leaders of those buying shops, really making it important from the top down that engaging and doing business with women-owned small businesses should be front of mind. I recently had a federal organization email me to say, we've never done a WSB set aside, and we want you to come and train us on how to use this program. So you all see it. You're looking, engaging with your federal customers. And so we're happy to go and train them on how to use the program more successfully, how they can really put out many opportunities because we know we have a pool of program participants. And so for us, it is driving to not just meet that goal, but exceed that goal, because it should be a norm that this is a part of just doing business as the federal government and being intentional. So there's been a lot of language and communication from the White House that has come down to really change the dynamic of how the government does market research, how we engage new businesses, and how we bring opportunities to the table for our small business community. So that is really, really demonstrating and showing not just for us here at the SBA, but for you all as small businesses that, hey, we need to be seeing things move in a different direction. And in order to do that, we need top-down change in order to make that happen and opening more opportunities for our small businesses. So we're looking to help them improve their market research, help them to show them that, hey, we know that there are women in construction. I don't know why you don't know that there are women in construction, but we're here to prove you wrong, that you don't seem to realize how many of them are there and available to perform work and services for your organization. So I would say for us, that is top of mind. It is absolutely something that we want to exceed. And then we will be announcing the FY23 achievements in around March timeframe to communicate where we're progressing as the government.
I hear that we may have a ChallengHER event coming up in March. A birdie told me, and once we get the final date straightened out between MXSBA and WIPP, we will let you all know that, but maybe we'll be able to talk about those numbers while we're there.
Hope so. That would be so exciting if
Right?
we're able to do that and really share with our community what all the work that we are doing to make that happen. That would be really awesome.
I would love that as well. We so appreciate your commitment to the ChallengHER program and to all of the women-owned small businesses. You are just such a great champion. And we appreciate you being here today. I think we got most of our questions in chat. For anything that we didn't get, feel free to send it over to to the WIPP address that Sydney's going to put into chat, and we'll make sure we get it followed up on. And certainly, Elisa had provided the WOSB at SBA.gov as well. And
Yes,
I'm
and
going
please
to,
again, yeah, I was going to
oh,
say,
no,
please
please.
be sure to reference today's event that you've attended and you're emailing for assistance.
I was going to let Angela come back and say hi.
Yeah,
Oh,
I can't thank the
yes.
two of you for being with us today and for everybody being so flexible on our programming here. And all the helpful information that you continue to share with us for the Women-Owned Small Business Program. We're truly honored to have you as a resource for us and always available to answer any of the questions that we might have individually, as well as those that are part of the extended WIPP network. As we close out, just for the folks that are here, I know Courtney mentioned it, the PowerPoint presentation and those resource guides that she spoke about will be available to you guys after after the event. It'll be recorded for anybody who registered for today's webinar. And then over time, these webinars are posted to the ChallengHER.us website, so you can refer to those. If you have any questions, just write to ChallengHER@WIPP.org, and I know Sydney will put that in the chat for you. And you can check out the other ChallengHER webinars that are in that webinar storage. So thanks, ladies, for being with us. Thank you, Elisa. Thank you, Courtney, for pitch hitting.
No worries. We hope
Alrighty.
everything's going well for you over there. Again, Elisa, thank you so much. And thanks to everyone for jumping on with us today. Your commitment to attending and taking part in the ChallengHER means a lot to all of us. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.